Tiny camera, big hulking lens. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com helping you create something awesome today. So today I'm going to be talking about how I've been creating awesome with an interesting piece of gear that my friends at BH Photo Video sent me. Hashtag not a sponsored video, they are a friend of the channel. I'm getting paid $0 to talk about this Sony A6500 and this really great piece of glass. This piece of glass is the f2.8 24 to 70 millimeter Sony Master Series lens. This thing is a monster. This thing weighs so much, but it's okay because it is a tremendous piece of glass. The optics are just brilliant and it gets the job done. I've been using this for a couple of days now and I wanted to try this out. I have a full review coming, but I want to try this out in real world scenarios. I did a lot of different things with this. I did some low light tests, I did some motion tests. I also really tested the autofocusing very vigorously, and what I can tell you is this. As someone who's using and filming right now with the Panasonic GH5 and is primarily using Panasonic cameras right now, I have to say that this Sony, the autofocus system, sure, it's better. That's just truth. The low light performance, it's better. That's just the truth. The problems that I have with it from a usability standpoint is the lack of a full touchscreen and the lack of a full flip out screen versus just a tilty screen. As someone who self-records a lot of content, as someone who is a one-man band, if I have to be in front of a camera, I need those things. Now, on the other hand, if I were a guerrilla filmmaker or I was a, wedding filmmaker, this camera is a no-brainer. This camera is an absolute yes. This camera has everything you need if you're someone who prioritizes being behind the camera. If you need something that's not a full-frame camera as a photographer, but you have this kind of glass, it's a no-brainer. This is fantastic. This gets perfect, beautiful, crisp stills with great bokeh, great optics. The video image quality is tremendous. The autofocusing is spot on, and I love all those things about it. And in terms of weight, aside from this big hulking lens, it's not terrible. Now, on the other hand, there is something to be said for still not having a touchscreen. There's something to be said for not having unlimited 4K recording, or at least not overheating. One of the issues I do have as a first impression with the A6500 is the fact that it still actually gets really warm after shooting with it for, a half hour to 45 minutes, whereas I do not have that problem at all on most of my other cameras, which are primarily Panasonic cameras. I also get to shoot, unlimited 4K without any issues on the GH5, and as long as I'm shooting within the memory card and the time limit on the G7, there's no overheating at 4K. This still actually gets rather warm even in HD. It gets hot in 4K shooting, and I do have a time limit on it. So those are the downsides, but overall, I really dig the A6500. I've actually reviewed the Sony A6000 on this channel before. I think I did that over a year ago. I also borrowed that camera from our friends at Lumoid, and I think that the Sony system, in terms of these portable cameras, is amazing as far as cameras where you actually can interchange out a lens. I'm going to be testing this with the 24 to 70. I'm also going to be testing the 50 millimeter f1.8 that I have for this, but overall, it's a great camera. The build quality is tremendous. The ergonomics are actually pretty solid. This could be a little better, but you're not going to be changing the modes too often, at least not if you're me. I shoot everything in manual, but for the rest of you, maybe that's a deal breaker. I don't like the placement of the menu button, but that's just me. I have it in other places and I like that. I actually really dig the way that they handle all of that over on this camera. I just prefer the ergonomics on this, but again, that's just my personal preference. I think that a full touch display and a flip out screen would have made this one of the best cameras on the planet. I still think it's an amazing camera. Theoretically, in the future, if I was spending more time behind the camera than in front of it, I could justify purchasing this. As it is, for me, this is just nice to be borrowing, and it's the kind of thing that I would rent if I wasn't going to rent like a A7S2, then I would rent something like this if I felt it merited it, especially for travel. If I was gonna travel and I absolutely wanted a great video and photography camera and I wasn't worried about the weight, and if for some reason I couldn't bring my Panasonic gear, or I wanted something with better autofocusing, then guess what? This is exactly what I would be bringing in that situation. That's kind of who I feel this camera is for. I feel that this camera is more like somewhat of an indie filmmaker camera or a travel photographer or travel videographer camera if you're not vlogging. If you're vlogging, maybe not so much. There are ways around that though. So there are ways that I could think of to get around that not having a flip screen by using the app and using your phone while having this on a tripod. That could make sense, but that really could feel cumbersome for a lot of people. So Sony, just start making flip out screens and then you win. You make flip out screens, Sony, you win the market, hands down. That'll be the end of the story. Favorite feature on this camera overall? Gotta be that sweet, sweet autofocus. It's one of the best autofocusing systems I think I've ever seen. So I'm really digging that. Anyway, those are my first impressions of this camera. Like I said, there will be a full review after I've used it more and after I've tested my other lens on it. I'll also doing comparison videos of this camera versus the GH5 and the G7. And actually I'll be comparing this Sony, the A6500, to the Sony RX100 Mark V. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know which one you're kind of looking forward to first. I'll put a poll up here. So maybe you guys actually influence which video comes out first. Will it be this versus the GH5, or will it be versus the Sony RX100 Mark V? You guys will probably decide that. Anyway, like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Send me your questions in the comments about camera gear. All of my camera gear is linked up in the description below. Gear like this will be linked up as well. Thanks again to our friends at BH Photo Video for letting me borrow this. Really appreciate it, guys. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Maybe with one of these. I don't know. Which one do you like better?